Good afternoon. Glad you can join us. A big test for Norwich City this afternoon. They've beaten Bayern Munich away from home. Now they've got to beat Inter Milan away from home. They're one down from the first leg of their UEFA Cup tie. You'll recall it's a big test indeed, tall order. Let's hear what Alan Hansen and Steve Coppell think about the task. Alan first.
Well, everything's against them. Although they played well at Old Trafford on Saturday, they have got 1 win in 10 games. They're going there, they're 1-0 down. Inter look a very good side. Norwich have got 4 of the better players missing. I'll be delighted if they get a result, but I'll be very surprised.
Steve?
Well, I think a lot depends on the Italians and what mentality they have for this game. Very often you find they sit back and they're just content with a 1-0 and hold on. But you get the feeling, looking at the lineups, if they really go for it, then you fear for Norwich. You think they might be in deep trouble. Let's
look at those lineups then, and we'll see from the Norwich side. I mean, there's some names in the Norwich City side that aren't too familiar, to say the least. I mean, Woodthorpe, Ullathorne, people like this.
It'll be a big test for them. Actually, it'll be interesting to see the way they play. They can play the way they played at Old Trafford on Saturday, be positive, take the game to Inter Milan, but I think they'll play it tight and hitting the break. It was successful for them in Munich, and I think that's the way they've got to approach the game.
Well, as Alan said, big test for the young defenders. You know, Pryor coming through from Southend, Woodthorpe from Chester, Ullathorne from within the club. I think it's important for Norwich that they've got a Koku back.
Yes.
Because a little bit more firepower up front. Sutton has looked a
lone figure, hasn't he?
Just by himself, he's looked ineffective at times, and Fox has had to come in. To have a Koku there, a little bit of pace, a little bit of physical presence, I think that will make a big difference to them.
OK, let's enjoy it and see what happens as we go live now to the fabulous Siro Stadium. I don't know if it's a full house, it may very well be. We'll soon hear as we join Trevor Brooking and Barry Davis.
There it is. It's not full, but it's certainly noisy. And the supporters of Norwich City are making themselves heard with a vengeance. 2,500 or so have made the journey from Norfolk. Coaches left on Monday. 5 aircraft chartered for a day trip to this Italian city. Cost, for the record, between £79 up to £250. But most in very good spirits and very hopeful for their side. Just one addition to the long list of problems for Mike Walker. Darren Eadie this morning went down with flu, so is not included on the substitutes bench, although among the 5 there is James Curtin, who turned out for the youth team last night, always due to come here, but perhaps a little surprised now to find himself on the bench. Very positive attitude from Mike Walker, the Norwich City manager, and it's been mirrored among the Norwich City supporters. Trevor Brooking.
Well, there's a lot of enthusiasm, anticipation as well, I think, because since the draw was made, both players who are just coming out of the tunnel now, and that's why you can see all the ticker tapes and balloons, green and yellow, being released from that section of the ground. And anticipation from supporters as well, because this is one of the stadiums that players definitely want to take part in, a big match atmosphere. And even though, as you say, Barry, it's only half full, the noise is deafening. It's one of those pitches that the crowd very close to the pitch itself, and it goes very high up, so that the sound echoes around, and there's certainly no better setting if you're trying to lift yourselves to get back into a match than the San Siro Stadium.
Built in 1927, but revamped for the World Cup of Italia 90. Unfortunately, the pitch does not match the surroundings. There were large divots in it yesterday, which have been filled, but not filled particularly well. It is not a good playing surface. All the officials come from the Republic, the Czech Republic. Vaclav Krondl is the referee. We're having 1 or 2 problems with pictures here. I hope you're not having problems back at home. Third round, Inter leading by Dennis Bergkamp's late penalty at Carrow Road. So Norwich City having to go for the victory. If they were to win 1-0, That will then take us into extra time and maybe even on to penalties. That's their lineup that you've already heard about. It's going to be the same style that Mike Walker favours, particularly away from home, with his 3 central defenders. Maybe sending a message to 1 or 2 managers here. He's simply replaced the injured and the suspended with the next best man available. There's Shalimov, got to wear the number 4 shirt. There was some doubt about Massimo Paganin, but it appears that the booking that was originally credited against him prior to the first leg in Carrow Road should have been credited to his brother, or perhaps debited would be a better word. One of the curiosities is, should Inter score and therefore go 2-0 up on the tie overall, Norwich City would only need to score twice, because they would then win on the away goals rule. They would have 2 to Inter's 1. But the word "only" should be put in quotes. It's a pleasant, sunny afternoon after a rather foggy morning. Some task for Norwich City, but they've surprised and entertained us through this UEFA Cup competition so far, and provided they keep a close check on the likes of Sosa, who was challenging then, they have a good chance. That's what they believe, and why shouldn't we join in that belief at the start of the contest? First touch for a Koku. And in a bit of space, but not finding the best of crosses, but an early corner. Efan Koku missed 12 matches. The problem has been a damaged nerve below his left knee. Real Fox turned away from his man, Megson. Rather hurried clearance by Shalimov. Megson to take the throw. Koku didn't quite make it. Paganin did. Free kick given. Getting to his feet. Davide Fontolan.
Mark Bowen, of course, is playing the sweeper role instead of Ian Culverhouse this afternoon, and a lot dependent on perhaps Colin Woodthorpe, who will have to take it in turns, with Spencer Pride picking up Sosa and Bergkamp, and probably Rob Newman, who's captain today, will be very important to talk to those 2 more inexperienced defenders.
Woodthorpe is only his 2nd game of the season. His first was at Old Trafford last Saturday, and he coped well. Koku's last game was against Bradford City. Valley Parade to the San Siro. Chris Sutton with the chase. Paganin with the clearance. It's Massimo. He's the younger of the 2. Newman with the throw, and a good one. Few whistles for Spencer Pryor. Came in the summer from Southend United. 2 consecutive seasons of promotion, but playing in this setting, rather different from all of that. Sosa, suspect the ball was still moving slightly, but no matter. Delanio's through ball. Goal kick. Inter beaten at home only 9 times in 89 home matches in European competition. And on 46 occasions they've held their opponents scoreless. Sutton. Interesting test for him. We'll learn a bit more about how good a player he might become in this setting and with a clear man-for-man marking. Looking for it with Bergami, and on the far side, Zenga is in real trouble. Megson didn't get hold of it properly, he was a little bit too hurried, so was Ikoku. It was Anathorn to whom the first chance looked likely to fall. But there are signs of nerves among the Italians. This is Fox. That's a beautiful ball to Megson. He can sort his feet out. Didn't make the best use of the pass. Slightly late challenge on Zenga. He is down, will be pleased for the breather, and a bit concerned about what was happening in front of him.
Well, deserved chance as well for Norwich, because they had a couple of early positive attacks. That one was very reminiscent of the second goal against Bayern Munich, where a cross from the right cleared everyone. And of course it was Mark Bowen who scored the second then, and Rob Ullathorne, who's playing on the left side of midfield, was just slightly late reacting to it actually coming over everyone, and he still actually met it at the same time as Zenga. I think if he could have anticipated it just a little bit earlier, we could have had an early goal, which would have been a terrific start for Norwich. But they must be encouraged at this moment.
And this man might be a little bit worried, Osvaldo Bagnoli. In his second season, having come to Inter from Genoa, and a couple of seasons ago got his side, Genoa, to the semi-finals of this competition, removing Liverpool en route. Zenga in a bit of trouble, and I gather you are too, differently at home. I'm sorry about the picture breakup. We hope that it can be sorted out by our Italian hosts as soon as possible. So that Liverpool defeat was in the UEFA Cup. So Sharp, you'll tell me it was in the Cup Winners' Cup. I'll play Fox. Unfortunate slip. Mark Bowen. I'm not sure that he'll find this role too testing. He's looked comfortable with the ball at his feet, and personally I was slightly surprised he didn't get the chance for Wales in the match against Romania when Hazelwood wasn't available. Sutton shielding the ball well again, but the crosses will need to be a little bit better than that. I suspect that Robert Anathorn, making only his second appearance of the season, is a little bit tense. His only previous outing was against Sheffield United, the one win in 10 that Norwich have had. In spite of playing well on a number of occasions, they haven't taken chances. It's Anathorn again. Don't think so.
Robert Anathorn, of course, normally more happier in a left-back position, but as Mark Bowen has played in that left-side midfield role effectively this season, and Anathorn has got a natural left foot, so he can hopefully whip in those early crosses from which Cuckoo and Sutton can benefit.
Pryor. Really promising start by Norwich, it has to be said. And one is pleased to be able to say it too. Bowen didn't quite make it, will now. Wants the support, does. And Woodthorpe, who didn't make the header. It's out of play though. Or Shalimov.
Certainly, we discussed before the game as to how we thought Inter Milan might approach it, but it seems a typical Italian approach, doesn't it? A fairly cautious, they've got the 1-0 away from home, and trying to absorb Norwich onto them and try and catch them on the counter-attack. But Norwich, at the moment, quite enjoying that particular attacking role.
traditionally liking the policy of what we have, we hold. Of course, that one goal would be enough if this ends 0-0. Megson. Taken well again by Sutton and by Zenga.
There was great control by Sutton, and he's a big lad for a striker, because started off, as you say, as a central defender, but that was good balance and a good cross that tested Zenga.
Pryor. Goss. Ikoku. Goss made a good forward run. Covered by Battistini. Norwich, more than most British sides, will know that with the sweeper there, that sort of ball you can come across, and if it's not timed absolutely right, and weight and distance, and it's a gift for the sweeper. Here's Fontaine. Dennis Bergkamp. Makes the run outside Shalimov, who plays it a bit wider than he may have wished. Cleared by Woodthorpe. Orlando on the left side. Shalimov. Pulled back by two. And the referee spotting a shoulder off the ball by the Uruguayan, Sosa. First Crive on the ball, which was heard outside, and here's a Koku. Stumbled at an inopportune moment.
There's no doubt his pace could trouble Inter Milan, because their sweeper, Battistini, does tend to get close to the two markers, and he's got such acceleration that he could take a couple, 2 or 3 yards and get past all three central defenders if the ball's right.
Goss. Alathorn takes on Paganin. That's a corner. Clearly got the deflection, and Zenga had to make sure. Newman on the near post comes away, and Zenga comes to claim. Recovered from the early knock. It's a good throw out too. It's Orlando on the right side, chased by Roy Fox. Just gets goal side, doesn't dive in. Shalimov. Delagno. Blocked by Goss. So far, every time the ball's been played out to Sutton, he's held it up and instigated an attack. Ikoku trying to get to the finish, and Bergami caught him.
Terrific run by Ikoku. He ran along the line. Battistini, the sweeper, tried to push up, play the offside, but he was a yard or two on. Just couldn't quite get it under control early enough, and Bergami got back to make the tackle.
In the 13th minute. Untidy again in the inter-defence. Sosa up in the air, and a foot was too high. Dangerous play is given against Norwich City. Inter 4 points behind AC Milan in the league. Play, of course, both of them in this San Siro Giuseppe Meazza Stadium. Not quite the force that they once were, but still with some very good players around. At least the man whose goal divides the teams, Dennis Bergkamp. Delagno. Sosa. Orlando. And Gunn comes to claim. Paganin got ahead of Sutton that time. And Fontelan got a knock. It's Rob Newman, who was feeling a little bit of flu this morning, but not, fortunately for Norwich City, as poorly as Darren Eadie. On by Sutton again. Fouled by Paganini, who's not finding him an easy competitor. And the referee wants to talk to Orlando, who kicked the ball away. Not untypical of things that happen here in Italy. Czech referee decides for the moment that words are enough, but it enabled a lot of people to get back and defend. Pryor was forward. Sutton was not a real test for Zenga. Goss actually was better placed. Woodthorpe's head away from Bergkamp. Again in, this time troubled by a Koku. Feels for handball, not given. Orlando. Bowen. The referee judged that to be a throw. Not unreasonably, I have to say. Smiles on the face of Gary Megson and Royal Fox. Therefore handball, and the free kick taken by Sergio Battistini. Only 4 caps for his country, but not currently in contention. Davide Fontelan came from Genoa. Very unlucky. No sooner had he signed at a cost of a cool £3 million. And he was injured in pre-season training of season 1991, didn't play the entire season. Goss and Shalimov, Alathorn, Koku, Bergamy with him. Rob Newman. Straight to Delano, good tackle by Gary Megson. Up by Shalimov, but to no purpose. Megson. Where am I going to go? Pryor. Made it wide to Mark Bowen. Koku down that side, Sutton is in the middle. That's for Alathorn. Megson underneath it. Well kept in. Alathorn again in the challenge. Now with Shalimov. Megson. Fox is in the middle. Paganini, Massimo turned it out. Roars of disapproval for lack of control by Fontelan. Roars of support from Norwich City supporters for the goal kick. Shot from Chris Sutton, who has begun the match well.
Well, the whole side's begun well. 20 minutes, and I would have thought Mike Walker must be delighted. How relaxed the side looks. I mean, that's the eventual shot. Kuku made a good run, could have been slipped in himself, but the movement off the ball, and there's no question at the moment Norwich are controlling the game, looking as if they're enjoying playing in the San Siro.
Bowen. Well, he was caught then, and Brian Gunn gives him a real rollicking. That's Sosa, who almost collected a gift. Agonising moments What, a little more than a ball's width away from hitting the post.
I bet that seemed to take a long time for Mark Byrne and Brian Gunn to make sure it went there wrong side of the post, and that would have been tragic, wouldn't it? Had so much good play in the opening 20 minutes to have given a gift like that.
Koku. Bit of elbows from Paganin afterwards. Megson. Goss. Koku. Megson was flattened. Goss, space left side, but they're pushing up now, Inter. Woodthorpe. Koku. Back again for Koku. Inter mainly defensive, but not defending well. But Norwich have to take advantage of that fact. They're on top at this stage, but they need a goal. Well taken by Zenga. Good clearance again by Zenga. This is Delagno. Bergkamp, who's hardly seen the ball, is down the middle. Antonin Paganin. Fontanan. Fox. Igor Shalimov. It's to play for Moscow Spartak. Speaks volumes. Surprised the cap doesn't come down right over his eyes. Woolly little hat he's wearing. Well taken by Pryor, but then he had to stretch a bit. Poor ball from Antonio Paganin. Subtle touch, I'm not quite sure how much it was meant by Woodthorpe. Shalimov. Nicely played off by Sosa. Decided not to go, Mark Byrne. And he was covered in the middle by Woodthorpe.
Well, it's taken them about 22, 23 minutes, but that was the best move so far from Inter Milan, showing some of the qualities you expect with the individuals they've got in their team.
Delagno to take the corner. Inter's first. Calmly taken down by Brian Gunn. That word sums up the whole Norwich side. They seem to be intent on enjoying the match and playing their style. They have to find is an end product to it. Fox hasn't seen too much of the ball. It would be nice if he could see a bit more. Delagno, seen by Goss, challenged by Megson. Seen as a foul by the referee, who was well placed, and I think right. Zenga in need of treatment from the earlier knock. Just signs that Inter are beginning to settle. Battistini. Poor clearance again from the back. Newman. Koku. Goal kick. Most of the Norwich City support is just to the right of that incident, taking the near corner of the ground as we look from the commentary position. Far end of the ground, the lower tier, decked out in Norwich City colours, and with plenty of empty seats, I think you can probably clearly see that. Bowen. That's what he will do, which Culverhouse is perhaps a little more reluctant to do, come forward from the back. Megson dropped back in cover as he did so. And here he is again. And that's a good ball to Sutton. Best chance so far. And he'll be disappointed he screwed it across goal. That's one of the reasons, Trevor, why I feel that Mark Bowen could be a useful player in that position. But that was a chance that I hope Norwich City won't regret not taking.
A terrific chance as well. Delightful chip from Mark Bowen. As you say, I mean, he slotted into that sweeper role as if he's played there many, many times, and looks very accomplished. He is good on the ball. That's why he can play on the left side of midfield as he has over the last few weeks, and confident bringing the ball forward. Made a good run early on, and then when he was halfway back, gained possession. A delightful chip that the Inter Milan defender tried to catch and handball, but Sutton sitting up nicely might well fret about that missed opportunity.
That's a difficult one. And Pryor watching with care. Newman took over. Younger man bowing to the experience of Newman. Free kick surely against Paganin. Massimo all over the top of Sutton. Megson to take. Met by Battistini. Bergkamp. Chance of a break here for Inter. Delagno. Looks for Bergkamp on this side. Comfortably cut out by Pryor. Sutton was watching then rather than moving. Something which could have been said of Norwich City at Old Trafford on Saturday. On a couple of occasions, I remember Alan Hansen pointing out one in his analysis at the end. Newman with the throw. Sutton found himself pulled a little bit. Newman again, Megson still to his left. Four in the area. Not a good ball in, not a good ball out either. Megson. Newman. And we're back where we started with the long throw.
It's the only thing that's let Norwich down at the moment. They've had 4 or 5 opportunities in these wide situations, and on each occasion they have put in a poor cross, but that's the only weakness so far.
Sutton underneath it, again a bit of bumping and boring. Here's Fox. Thorne, if he can keep it down, he can't. I'm afraid that looked the likely outcome.
Actually, the chances that have fallen for Norwich is a reflection on the pitch. You probably noticed that. Look how high that ball bounces. Now, all right, he still should have kept it on target, but every time the ball just drops on the floor, it bouncing up. The ground is quite firm. There's not a lot of grass, and that's why it just bobbles around a lot. And as I say, it does seem to sit up very high, and players are just snatching at 2 or 3 of those chances before they actually drop low enough.
Good kick against Megson. Caught his man too. Davide Fontelin. Foot was high and made contact with player and not ball. And probably hurt. Sosa, I think it's a little bit long even for him. He is the top scorer on the side with 7. And most of those have come from free kicks or penalties. That's a waste. The flag is up. Battistini gets back to the cover roll. Norwich City, after their success against Bayern Munich, were rated at 16-1 to win the UEFA Cup. Their odds dropped out to 66-1 after the first leg against Inter. Are the bookies worried? Are they ever? Delagno. Well played by Orlando. There's a hole in the middle too. Oh, dear, oh dear. I think he'd have been a touch embarrassed with that shot on the local park.
Not a classic, I must admit. I mean, he did the hard work, didn't he? And when the ball is running like that, you could see how difficult it is for players to run with the ball. I mean, you know, it was bobbling along, he couldn't quite get himself settled for it, and in the end hit an awful shot. But I don't think you should underestimate the poor quality of this pitch. When you think Inter Milan and AC Milan are playing here, you just wonder why it isn't that much better. I mean, there shouldn't be any restrictions on the sort of money they can spend on the maintenance.
That's a useful ball from Mixon. Sutton, he's done well. Just couldn't pick out Goss on the far side. And that header was certainly an extreme one in defence. Almost half an hour gone. Norwich City have been on top virtually since the kick-off, but they've yet to score. Anathorn takes the corner. Haven't hit a good set piece yet. And the crosses have been a bit of a disappointment too. They haven't always fallen to the right person. Apart from Sutton's shot, it could be argued too that the scoring chances haven't fallen to the right person either. Interesting that Anathorn is now having a spell on the right side. Stayed there since taking the corner. Rolf Fox isn't in the match enough.
He's an important part of Norwich's attacking unit. So far they've sort of found a Cuckoo and Sutton and have exposed sort of the sweeper being perhaps a bit too close to the two markers through the centre, but Norwich haven't been able to get down the bylines, and particularly Rolf Fox, and that was the beauty of a Cuckoo coming back into the side, that they would be able to start with Fox out wide on the right, but they haven't got it to him early enough perhaps at the moment.
Free kick for that challenge by Spencer Pryor on Dennis Bergkamp. Fontenay's taken a position out to the right. Bergamy arriving, and Sutton trots alongside. Bergkamp will make the first run, and he does so. It's hit at the back. Not away properly yet. Sosa. Bowen's header. Beautifully pulled down, but a quick challenge by Newman. Goss, break left side. But I think the defender will get there first. It's the best thing that Massimo Paganini's done. Delagno. Clary got up on the far side. Now Fox. 4 take on 5. Just hacked away by Bergamy. But when you're taking on an Italian team, particularly the successors to the players who first started the art of Catenaccio, then if you've got 4 attackers against 5 defenders, that's good odds.
Well, I mean, Inter Milan have been made to look a shadow of the side we saw at Carrow Road, and I think that's more down to Norwich's approach and attitude rather than Inter Milan sort of being a bit negative themselves. I mean, there's no doubt they started this game thinking we're 1-0 up, and they've given the initiative to Norwich, and they just can't wrestle it back at the moment.
Newman. Jeremy Goss. Challenges by Fontaine. The crowd bowing to Jeremy Goss just away to our right. Sutton didn't quite make it. Off the eyebrows of Megson. Well seen by Bowen. And onside Ikoku. Beautifully taken. Oh, but wide. They're looking at the linesman, but he said onside. Ikoku took it beautifully on his thigh. But then off the outside of the right boot, it wouldn't come back in for him.
Desperately unlucky there, because referee was quite right when the ball was knocked back in again by Mark Bowen. Terrific anticipation. You can see it did well because it came down from a long height there to get it on his thigh. Just couldn't toe end it then and keep it down low enough.
Two chances, neither taken. Free kick to Inter, no challenge. Now this is more in range for Ruben Sosa. A little touch will take him forward a little more. Gunn happy that the left side of his goal is being covered. Takes the position just right of centre. Will be a touch, will be a shot. Sosa hit the wall. Not away yet. Played Newman. Fox. Chase for Ikoku, his pace might count here. Battistini is caught. Two up in support. 3 against 3 here. A real chance for Norwich. Ikoku, oh no.
He got a dreadful bobble though, didn't he, just as he went to play. But his pace there was frightening, wasn't it? Battistini was destroyed by it. It just popped up as he went to cross it, and unfortunately he's down. I hope he hasn't turned his ankle over.
Away by Bowen. Koku back on his feet. But although the hopes were not realised for Norwich City supporters, more reason for concern, assuming that Koku recovers for Internazionale. Tim Shepard has gone round to attend to him, away to our right. Offside against Sosa.
Well, you can see him holding the ankle. It ran away from him and trying to get the cross in. It's near the Achilles tendon area, and he just turned it over as he was off balance, then got the dreadful bobble, and he was hobbling quite badly as he went to get the treatment from Tim Shepard, the physio. And let's keep the fingers crossed, because his pace did look frightening, and I'm sure Inter Milan will be very apprehensive. Let's hope he can stay on.
At the moment, Norwich City down to 10 men. On by Goss. Away awkwardly by Bergami. Again, Shalimov had to recover then, did Woodthorpe. Goss, it's a bit tight, and Sutton trying the drag back, dispossessed by Shalimov. First one we've seen from Bergkamp, going the long way around, looking up. Shalimov is unmarked in the middle, but the cross was behind him. Shalimov actually moved in too soon. Wonderful run by Bergkamp. Crossed the field from right to left. Centred to the back of the box. But Shalimov had been sucked in. Another injured party is Gary Megson. But the good news is that Koku is back on the field. I wonder whether that was another little strain caused by one of the many divots on this pitch that we told you about at the beginning. So many divots. I was suggesting to Trevor Brooking he'd been trying a few golf shots down here.
Yeah, my golf divots might have been even bigger than the ones that have been replaced on this pitch, I must admit. But I mean, you know, it is a very poor surface, and when you are running with it, it just keeps popping up all the time, and it's a great shame. But Norwich are making very light of the conditions, because they've passed it exceptionally well. There's just that final ball when you need it for the cross, or when the Cuckoo got in late, it can just knock you off balance, and that's why you're getting these 1 or 2 knocks of ankles being turned over.
Big divot there to the left of where Sosa's taking this free kick. 4 on the far side. That's a good covering header at the expense of the corner. Came from Pryor. from each side. Corners for Inter. Megson, challenged on the other side by Battistini. Shoulder from Ekoku. Stays with Bergkamp. It's a throw to the home side. Seeing very little of the ball, the Dutchman, but showing on that one run what he's capable of doing with it. Fox. Goss. Paganin. Massimo. Well watched by Alathorn, who now chases it out. And Shalimov does well. That's good play by the Russian. Delano. Back again, Delano. Good clearance by Mark Bowen to Ekoku. His touch wasn't the best. Comes back to collect and withstands the challenge. And I think we can say he's recovered.
Yeah, it's moving okay there. Just got to mention the terrific anticipation by Mark Bowen, because that was a dangerous move from Inter Milan, but he read the situation superbly.
I don't know whether Terry Yorath is among our watchers, but I wonder whether he might now agree with the observation I made earlier. That Mark Bowen was a natural for that role. Newman. Fox. Newman. That's a gift for the goalkeeper. Free kick has been given against Sutton, who's pointing out to the referee that he felt that he was tugged by the shirt. The free kick is for his challenge on Walter Zenga. 11th season Zenga in the Inter side, but no longer in the Italian squad. Alathorn going for a header that he shouldn't have gone for, and as a result pushed his man. Bergkamp watched by Pryor. Delano. Shalimov. Goss with Shalimov. Good foot in by Newman. Ekoku. Sutton. Not the best return ball that Chris Sutton's given. Man down is Antonio Paganin. Referee inviting him to get to his feet. Now the ball out of play. Attention will be given. And the referee saying, come on, if you're coming from the touchline, get a move on about it.
Well, he's just pulls up there, doesn't it? It doesn't look as if there was much contact with Norwich players at all. There's a stretcher waiting, and usually when you see the stretcher about to be brought on, the player sometimes springs to his feet, but he's staying down, rubbing his hip at the moment. And I should think the Inter Milan players will be in for quite a verbal attack at half-time, because they have looked very unimpressive during this first 45 minutes. Norwich are totally dominated, and the only frustration is that blank scoreline.
That injury brought the club doctor on, Dr. Garino, but not required to do anything out of the ordinary. Possession immediately conceded by Norwich, on purpose, of course. All the way to Gunn. Off the back of Alathorn. Trying to get through the sandwich. Good header again by Bowen. If he'd headed that forward, it would not have gone a great distance and might have been collected by the opposition. Alathorn. Plenty arriving, better cross, Goss! It's still loose, Ekoku! And they survive again, Inter. But I think that was the best cross that's been played in. Much snappier and caused problems. Delano.
Definitely the best crosser. Ulathorn whipped in at pace. Goss, as he so often has this season, getting right in front of the goal there, making the challenge, and they were very unlucky. The ball could have dropped to anyone. 2 or 3 Norwich forwards getting in and joining. It just went to an Inter Milan defender. Just need that little break, that little bit of luck at the moment, Norwich, to warrant the play that they've had this first 44 minutes.
Fox. Double cover on him. Battistini, when it would have run clearly to Zenga. Again, the home crowd unhappy. Not here in vast numbers. Free kick given. Nixon holding the leg of Bergkamp. There's a holiday in the country today. And there was a holiday here yesterday too, just in the city of Milan. Saints' Day. Sant'Ambrogio, in case you're wondering. Woodthorpe carried on where he left off against Manchester United. Keeps the side balance, being a naturally left-sided player and defender. Here he comes again. Missed out that time. Sosa. Bergkamp looked to me to be offside. It was held by Sosa. Had to be. It was Bergkamp. Had straight offside. Again brought out by Bowen. Sutton. Fox not making a pacey run outside him, which was a disappointment. Megson. Wide for Ulathorn. He's going to get ball and defender at the same time. It's a goal kick. In fact, a free kick given for Ulathorn's challenge. And not playing the time the referees allowed for the odd stoppage.
They just need to get Raw Fox more into it, as you say. He didn't quite overlap at pace. He's got a hamstring problem. During training yesterday, he sort of was eased through it, and he's had it for 2 or 3 weeks. He's sort of in the lower part of the right hamstring, and that might just be worrying him about the sprinting off the mark.
Megson learning a trick from the others then, standing on the ball, preventing the quick free kick. Shalimov, not a good touch, allowed the challenge. Ulathorn was quick to make. Well reached by Newman, but only to Orlando. Goal kick. And the bird for Orlando. A bit tough.
Quite animated discussion going on amongst the Inter Milan supporters as to what Orlando, the number 3, was trying to do there. Always encouraging if you're the visiting side to see that.
Well, an opportunity now for Osvaldo Bagnoli to give his team a pretty warm time in their dressing room. I would think that Mike Walker will simply be saying, carry on as you are, the break surely will come. Let us hope he's right. The half-time score, Inter 0, Norwich 0. So Inter still lead by the goal they scored at Carrow Road a fortnight ago.
Well, one of those teams is supposed to be worth £40 million. It doesn't look like Inter Milan at the moment.
Certainly not. There's only one team in it. Norwich have been magnificent. They've played it up to Sutton, they've got it back, and then they've played it over the top, and they've had them in trouble every time. With a little bit of luck and probably a touch more composure in front of goal, they could easily have been 2 up.
Yeah, we'll look at some of those details again in a moment. Mike Walker seems to, whatever combination he has in the team, he seems to get something out of them.
Well, as Alan said, this is a magnificent performance, and it's on the back of changes and changes. It's not as if they had an opportunity to play this way against Manchester United. He's made more changes again. The young kids at the back, they haven't been tested. Inter Milan as an attacking force have been non-existent. And I'm sure it's one of those occasions where you don't want the half-time to come because they're bound to get a rollicking. And they might just start performing in the second half.
The manager's been rolling his head up and down there. I don't know quite what that means. But as I say, we'll look in some more detail of the main incidents of that first half in a moment or two. But first of all, we're going to get up to date with this week's top league action so far.
Shearer came deep there, and Sherwood helping it on to Ripley. Blackburn with players out to the left. This is Lasso. Gallagher looking up to see what's on in the middle. And there's Newell, that was a good jump, and Ripley left it, and Lasso! That's a good goal for Blackburn. Graham Lasso, Newell wins the header, and for Lasso, his first goal for Blackburn against his old club Chelsea. What a good volley. Hit it on the rise with his left foot in the corner. And good service again to Ripley, who's at his best really in these situations. Early ball in, and there's Shearer, and off the post, and in. Right at the end, Shearer makes it safe. He gets a front of Gareth Hall. And Dixon again looking for Smith. This is hazard for Spurs. Little pirouette. Oh, and a good ball for Dozell, flicked on, and they're onside. It's Anderton. He's got ahead of the centre defenders here, and scores! Well taken, and Tottenham in front after 26 minutes, and Anderton had a long way to run, but he was clear, rather like the goal he scored here for Portsmouth in the FA Cup semi-final a couple of years ago. A good finish. That's Sol Campbell. Oh, mistake by Adams. Just back from flu, really. Campbell again. And Spurs have got players coming in on this. Kasky! Oh, might have made it two. Anderton. Oh, Kasky again, and wide, with Arsenal appealing for offside. Spurs still dictating the flow of the first half, and Anderton has had so much space and good service too. Looks for Campbell. This is Selly. Oh, he's lost it, and Samways, good save by Seaman. Vinny Samways. That's a good challenge by Dixon, and Limpar coming in on this. Caldwell was a bit slow, and Wright, oh, drove himself too wide. Sol Campbell, so versatile. He seems to be able to play in any position on the left wing at the moment. And they're coming up in support. Here's Samways in particular in the middle, but he went for goal, Campbell. Limpar. Wright. Oh, yes! That's the equaliser. Inevitably Ian Wright. Really the long kick from Seaman. Arsenal fans... Jensen again prompting in midfield, and Wright tight to the line. The longer it goes on, the more you think Arsenal, if anybody, are going to win it. This is Limpar. And outside is Lee Dixon. Oh, a good run by the fullback, with some space on that side left by Spurs. And they were bunched in the middle of the defenders, and Dixon on the overlap might have won it for Arsenal.
After Manchester United's 15th league win of the season at Sheffield United on Tuesday, some bookmakers have now cancelled any more bets on them winning the championship. Home side protests about offside seemed viable in the first instance. Paul Parker's pass up to Brian McClare, although the finish of Mark Hughes was one of pure quality. The Welshman putting United one up after 13 minutes with his 10th goal of the season. But the second complaint was unjustified. Watch for the defender moving up late in the bottom left as Paul Ince threads the ball through to Lee Sharp. In the second half, United gave the perfect example of turning defence into attack. From this Sheffield corner, it's exactly 15 seconds before their defence has been run ragged. Cantona finding Sharp, Sharp up to Giggs, and the Frenchman, continuing his run, out-sprinting the defenders over half the length of the field to score off the post. Manchester United's All Blacks are rampant. 3 priceless points in the relegation struggle claimed by Oldham, with Rick Holden's free kick from the acutest of angles going straight in to give them the lead after just 12 minutes. But there were signs at an icy Boundary Park that Swindon have toughened up their act, and they might have got more from this match. with Paul Bodin's cross headed here onto the top of the crossbar by Andy Much. Swindon's equaliser came with just 18 minutes left. A similar attack up the left and cross, and this time the header by Much dropped under the bar. But it was Oldham who snatched their 4th win of the season. A corner in the 84th minute, and Steve Redmond given the time and space to steady himself and drill the ball past Digby. Who feels the cold when your team are winning?
That's this week's action so far. But tonight's match, Newcastle United against Coventry, has been postponed. A waterlogged pitch. No match at Newcastle tonight. Now, let me just remind you, we've got a fairly important programme coming up this Sunday, Sports Review of the Year. It's just about your last chance to vote for the Personality of the Year. Postcards only, please, have got to arrive by first post here on Friday. I know many thousands of you have voted already. But let's just remind you of some of the leading contenders.
The left foot of Giggs. Oh, brilliant!
Right over the top from Bruno, and Lewis is rocked. Lewis is in trouble, and then a big left from Lewis, and Bruno is in trouble, desperate trouble, and Lennox Lewis has won it. And Damon Hill wins. Right, and oh, wonderful! And Sally Gallup comes through to take the world title, and the world record has gone too. Eubank traps his man on the ropes, but back comes Ben. I think he's done it. Ben thinks he's won it. Eubank thinks he's won it. Christie got a good one. And Christie comes through to become champion of the world.
It's the big one, as we say in the world of sport. Sports Personality of the Year, Sports Review of the Year, Sunday night, 7:30. Be a good show, I promise you that. And you can still vote, that's the address, but your postcards must now be in by first post here on Friday. Now, let's look at some of those chances. If you're just joining us, I ought to tell you that Norwich have had a great first half in the San Siro, 0-0 against Inter Milan, but of course they need 2 goals, but they certainly won that first half on points. And Alan, take a look at that chance that Sutton had in that first
Probably
half
the best chance of the first half. Yeah. And as I said, every time the ball gets played over the top here, Bowen, it's a great pass, Sutton onto it quick. I think he probably just snatches a bit. He's got to hit the target, and really, if Norwich are going to win the game, they've got to take that chance. That's a great chance.
That was a good one.
And he's played well. Sorry, but he's played really well, and probably his downfall just the finishing.
He's had a good season, hasn't he?
Terrific.
All the way along the line. Now, Ullathorne is one of the players who's come into the team today. What a baptism for him. I don't know if it's his first game, it probably isn't, but the San Siro for a young boy like him, and he's had a go. He's had a
Yeah, he's done a terrific job. He's a left back. He started off as a left back, and he's playing in this wide left position. But he's shaped a few good crosses in, and he got on the end of this cross at the far post here. Long throw in. Ball comes back to Fox. He just loops it over the top, and then it drops to his left foot, and he's got to keep it down. But I'm not making excuses for him, but those Italian footballs are a little bit lively, and the pitch isn't brilliant, as it's been said so many times.
Yes.
But
yeah, not easy.
No,
it's extraordinary they got such a wonderful stadium and such a bad pitch, but there we, it doesn't seem to trouble AC Milan too much. They win everything on it. But Ekoku now, back in the team today, and he had a go.
Yeah, and he's caused them lots of problems. As I said, every time they've played it, the inter-defence have been in a bit of trouble. And he's caused them problems with the pace. They've come out here, he's got onto it. This is probably the most difficult chance. Great first touch, and I think he's a bit unlucky there, because he does everything right. The goalkeeper, to his credit, does well to narrow the angle. And I thought he was just a bit unlucky. He did everything right.
He's given them an awful lot, though. I think the two of them up front, Sutton and Ekoku, have
helped
been a
him,
real presence, and the attacks are being sustained rather than when Sutton's been by himself. It's been sort of one hit and then back. And now it seems they have more options, and there's a lot of space up front.
There was one little heart stopper, wasn't there? Mark Bones playing sweeper, unaccustomed as he is, so to speak.
Yes, I think he was just reluctant to pass it back when he should have done. And Sosa comes in, he's hit his foot, and it's gone very, very close to the near post. But I think it would have been a total injustice to that had it gone in.
Other than that, he's done a first-class job, hasn't he?
They've all done well. I mean, it's like a dream, isn't it? You can't expect Norwich to go there with all the changes they've had and completely dominate the game. And as I said, they should be 2-3 up.
Yeah. And I think, what do you think about Megson? He looks as though he's had a terrific half, an older head. And,
well, so many times he's been able to put his foot on the ball and then spray it around, and he's covered space effectively. He's got tackles in. He took a breather at the right time just before the end of the first half. There's got to be a question mark about his legs. He's 34 and he hasn't played too many games this season. But
they've just got to keep going, keep playing the way they played in the first half, and if they get another chance, make sure they take it.
Good. Let's see what happens then as we go back to the stadium now and rejoin Barry.
And the crowd just welcoming him back, the Norwich City side, as we look at Dennis Bergkamp, who had just that one run in the first period. And comments about the pitch. Des was saying that AC Milan play well on it. I was just thinking how nice it is to talk about a bad pitch and find it's the British side that's playing well on it. Sosa deciding that the afternoon is getting a little colder, donning the gloves. Just looking around the two sides. No changes during the half-time interval. No further problems for Okoku. Played in the reserves on Friday. But it's to be hoped that he can last the full 90 minutes with just that one full game in the past 8 and a bit weeks. Fabregas managed to score against every opponent so far in the UEFA competition. Is it to be his moment again? Krondl gets the second half underway. Bergami. Sutton. Goss. It's a bit too strong. Since the first leg, Inter have moved up one place in their league from 6th to 5th. Norwich City have dropped down from 4th to 7th, but have played some good stuff without finding the finish, and that's the story this afternoon as well. Sutton. Goss the first to break on the left side, Battistini. Not in the classic mode of liberos of Italian football. Sutton underneath it, good header down, Fox! Credit Walter Zenga, he was out at his man very quickly. Attacked the through ball, the angle was not looking good for Fox. First challenge on his goal has come and gone.
Terrific header by Sutton, and Raul Fox is not going to score from there. If he could have just pulled it across the face of the goal, I think he'd have found Sutton and Okoku were coming in on the 6-yard box, and it could easily have rebounded in. The good awareness by Sutton, and there's no question again that he's got the beating of the Inter Milan defenders in the air, and he even had time there to try and pick his knockdown.
Delagno. Sosa. Nice back heel to Delagno. Good tackle again by Megson. Shalimov. Bergkamp is behind the player, who was Spencer Pratt. Let's even up the corners. Sosa and Bergami in the 6-yard area. It's curling a lot, and Gunn off his outstretched fingers for another corner. Sosa takes. It's welcomed by the Norwich fans. Man at the back, Bergkamp. Okoku didn't know where it was, but Gunn did. Nice timing by Massimo Paganin. Too strongly in by Mixon, gets a second chance, anticipated where the clearance was going extremely well. Newman, Ekoku, Newman again. Blocked by Battistini at some cost to himself. Free kick against Newman. A bit of frustration, I think. Challenge on Massimo Paganin.
Whatever happened at half-time with the team talks hasn't made any difference to the flow of the game. Norwich come out, immediately taken a grip again in the second half. Mixon certainly, and Goss in midfield controlling ahead of Delanio and Shalimov, who haven't been able to get in the game, and that's given Norwich the control that they've had. They just cannot get that goal, though.
It's time yet. Bergkamp to tackle him, and eventually Woodthorpe gets him. Orlando. Fontaine. Two waiting in the middle, Sosa and Bergkamp. Delanio. Nice check out. Good play. Good save. He's got it up again. Oh, and he improvised really well then, Brian Gunn. Swinging the foot. But the best we've seen from Inter. Brilliant stuff from Brian Gunn. Lovely play between Delanio and Sosa. Drop of the shoulder that took Delanio away from Mexon. Excellent positioning taken by Sosa, and he was in here. Gunn out to him, blocked. Now look at this, it's running loose. The foot makes contact.
And he used his feet once or twice in the first leg, didn't he, Brian Gunn? And there did superbly. Did Delanio just for the first time coming from midfield and creating that chance.
Lifted the crowd a little bit. Goss silences them again and raises the volume from the Norwich corner. Fox, Ekoku, bounced up, and it's comfortable for Battistini. Delanio, Orlando, Sosa. Nice return by Shalimov. Sosa once again. Setting himself, I think, with the left foot. Or even the right foot. He's capable with either. He made a run away. Massimo Paganin. Suddenly the Inter players feeling they can run at Norwich. Delanio. Bergkamp. Shalimov. Delanio. Best spell that Inter have had. Fontaine. Bergkamp is in the middle. Too many options. Alathorn. Sutton. Oh, had to work hard to get that one back. Mexon. Ekoku. Alathorn staying square. Now goes forward. Good challenge. Delanio having a good spell defensively and going forward. Mexon. One well again by Sutton. Fox. Go outside him. He has. Newman. Sosa coming in behind him. Doesn't make a challenge worthy of the name. Newman takes full advantage instead of the cross. It's hanging a bit. Put out by Bergami.
Well, the confidence growing, isn't it? Defenders of Norwich, such as Rob Newman, they're going past two defenders, encouraged to get forward. Bit deep the first cross, but Rob Ulathorn was the one, small as he is, who got that first header. Let's see if they can make this set piece tell.
Shalimov on the near post. Massimo Paganin looking to see where Sutton's gone. Linking arms with him. Fox takes. Not away yet. Now might be in a danger of a breakout. Ended by Goss. Oh, what a good ball by Mark Bowen. Sutton in the middle. Koku loses out to Bergamy. Back from Goss. Mixon not anticipating the pass from Sutton. And the crowd getting at their own side. There's a real chance here for Norwich City, if only they can take it. Bowen. Good play by Fox. Two waiting for the cross. Corner.
It's the first time he's spun as sharply as we know Raw Fox can, and suddenly it looked dangerous, and this pressure is building up. Can Inter Milan cling on?
Alathorn's left, will take it again. Koku in the centre, watched by Bergamy. Met by Battistini, but not well. Fox! Goss! Sosa and up and under. Played by Bowen. Ekoku. Sutton. Peel for handball. Not given. Peel, I think, was against Sutton. Shot from distance. Lands at the feet of Fontaine. Well in was Pryor. Now Shalimov and a lot of space on the right side for Antonio Paganin. Sosa makes the run. Bowen is with him. Bergkamp. Corner. Top scorer in the competition. Bergkamp. 6, 2 of them from the penalty spot, and the one at Carrow Road a fortnight ago. Still dividing the teams with 10 minutes of the second half of the second leg gone. Fontaine poised for the run, met by Pryor, slightly headed down. Shalimov on the left. Hits the netting high behind Brian Gunn's goal and to the right of it. Scored twice in the league against Lecce on Sunday, but 2 late goals when Inter won 3-1, but were not particularly impressive according to the Italian press. Run a bit kindly, quickly seen by Bowen. Woodthorpe. Alathorn. These players have just slotted into their role and played with confidence. Whatever happens, they've done themselves and the game at home enormous credit. Massimo Paganin. Fontaine chases well and deserved better luck. British side to win here. It was in the Fairs Cup of 60-61, but it was a city competition, and the city of Birmingham won. Wicket given against Koku. Fontaine, quickly seen by Sosa, got behind his man, who recovered well, Spencer Pryor. And made the challenge. Very well played by the 22-year-old. Zengon able to prevent the corner.
Not the sort of back pass most goalkeepers would relish, and not surprisingly, I should think you're quite relieved just to get it away from the corner. There was about stomach height, coming back at pace, and another opportunity from a corner for Norwich.
Not sure what the goalkeeper's word is in Italian, but I bet it's short and curt. Alathorn once more. Plenty forwards. Came off the head of Antonio Paganin. Trier is forward. Bowen. Nice idea, but it was a little bit short and not fast enough to Bowen. So he found himself faced by a ball coming not quickly enough and a defender coming a bit too quickly.
But good to see Norwich quite happy to switch it tactically rather than just whip those in at the near post. And actually the corner kicks have been a little bit high, and Zenga took a lot in the first half. One or two in the second half have gone into that near post, but Inter Milan been dealing those very well, and so just a variation, pulling one back to the edge of the penalty area, not a bad thing.
Ian Woodthorpe policing Bergkamp. Bergami, Bergkamp, Delagno. Hit it cleanly, but pulled it. Sutton again gets in front of his man. Didn't use it that time. Trier. Sosa. Delagno. Spread wide on either side. Delagno finds a bit of space again and is very close. They've got to stop him doing that. He's beginning to run at the defence too much.
He's just starting to find a bit of space, isn't he, now, Delagno? He had that 1-2, then he certainly created another chance, and again there got a bit of space, went past Megson, and Gunn was beaten there. If it had been inside the post, that would have been a goal.
Free kick against Sutton, used the body before the ball arrived. Once again they feed Delagno. Shalimov only supported him spasmodically. Weighted that nicely. Orlando, not the best of balls for Sosa. Megson in the way. Battistini, the back man. Rob Newman from a slightly strange position. He wasn't goal side, he was touchline side. Sosa. Into a ball. Twice the hour of the contest. Don't know whether his nerves are any better. The Inter coach. Fontelan. Shalimov. He's lost it, Gunn gets it back. Ooh. Goodness me. Three moments that he'll remember in this match.
You can see, I think Bergkamp could have done without just touching it. If he'd have let it run straight to Shalimov, he was just ahead of Jeremy Goss. Brian Gunn, I'm sure he knew what he was doing there.
What a generous fellow you are. Newman. Bergkamp. The longer it goes on and stays scoreless in the second leg, the more Norwich have got to be prepared to gamble. And that, of course, opens up the opportunities of the other side to break away. Need one to take it to extra time, need two to make it to the quarterfinals. Goal kick. Norwich support. Decked out in yellow and green. A few canaries. Plastic versions around too. Koku and Bergami. And it runs to Alathorn, whose cross is too strong. Hasn't found his touch in that area. It's a good opportunity, that. Could have actually taken it on himself, but then he would have had to come back on the right foot, which is not one he favours too much. Shalimov. Bowen. Goes back to start again. Newman. Covered by Paganin. Of the Massimo variety. Sutton. Megson. Free kick against Delagno. Quick word from Bowen as Spencer Pryor goes forward. Taken on the deck to Koku. To Fox. Double cover arrives. Koku is pushed in the box. Newman. They've got one up, and it's Bergkamp. And it's played to him. The chase is on. Gunn comes to meet. And it rolls out of play, surely. And the referee looks, says goal kick, as Bergkamp goes over the goalkeeper.
Well, the referee, Ryan Gunn, deliberately fell across the line of the run, and Dennis Bergkamp was trying to jump over him, shaking his head there. Now I would have said well done to the referee, and I wish him luck as he walks off the pitch at the end of the final whistle.
Oh, goodness me. Well, he scored one from the penalty spot, and in all honesty, I have to say he should have had the opportunity to score number two. The referee thought otherwise, and the linesman concurred. I hope I'm not being too hard on Brian Gunn when I suggest there was a little look up. Got away with it. Norwich are still in business. Bowen, they deserve a bit of fortune. Alathorn. Megson. Newman. It'll be a bit cross here if Norwich were to score now. Goss!
Good build-up play again. It hit it well enough. It just, unfortunately, it was right on target and went into Zenga's chest without him having to move.
Well played, Bowen. Newman. Pushing forward an awful lot, Newman. Sometimes leaving a bit of a space on that right side. Battistini. It's comfortably headed clearance. Looking for the break again. Offside. Norwich having to gamble. Maybe against Sosa.
Yeah, Fontalan getting booked for throwing the ball down. His frustration because he thought he wasn't offside, which he wasn't, but it was Sosa down the middle, and the linesman was quite correct, 2 yards offside. Sosa, perhaps he should go across and tell Fontalan it was down to him. Just an example, though, I think, of the frustration and anxiety that's in this Inter Milan side, because they know at the moment they are still being outplayed.
Fascinating contest, but Norwich still looking for that priceless goal. Having to gamble, but then their approach from the start has been so positive. Breakout from the back again, only 3 defenders back. Bergkamp makes the run. And it proved to be the wrong one. Or at least he was given the wrong pass. Alathorn. Megson. Goss. Again, it's Newman pushing forward. Hanging cross. It's a gift for the goalkeeper. They've got to do better with possession than that.
I mean, they kept possession quite well, and then, you know, that's far too early to knock it in from those deep situations. And in the second half, they haven't been able to get a cuckoo in yet.
It's difficult for Norwich, because I'm not sure that Newman is the right player to be pushing forward. Where's the alternative? This man, certainly. But then he's been marshalling the defence at the back. The player he's passed and returned with there, Fox, has got to come into it more. Nicely done. Sutton. Still Sutton. Oh, the sting taken off the shot by Battistini. Again, Newman the first to attack. Pryor goes in behind him. Bergkamp watched by Colin Woodthorpe. Woodthorpe's second match of the season. Alathorn's second match of the season. Didn't play at all last season. Spencer Pryor new buy in the summer. But adapting to the Norwich pattern.
How good it is, though, to see somebody like Rob Newman pushing him, because if Inter Milan have only got 2 up, how many times have we seen England as a national side as well, playing 4 men at the back, just marking 2? Norwich realise you don't need to. Let's put another one into midfield and control this game.
Yes, absolutely right. The question was just whether Newman is quite the right player for that role. But the options are difficult. Megson. Trying to get it in behind. Into the 26th minute of the second half. Still 0-0. If you've joined the match late, it's been a performance so far that Norwich can be proud of, but which still leaves them and their supporters frustrated. Bergkamp with the header. Megson took it down well, but he played a bit earlier than he wanted to. Bergamy. Norwich City possession. John Dean on his feet, the Norwich number 2 on the management side. Sutton. Newman. Bowen. Koku comes away from his man. Here's Newman. Now Woodthorpe, an all-bar gun in the Inter half. Newman again. Did well. Megson. Goss. Bowen. 3 on the edge of the box. Fox is wide. Every man marked, and there are plenty of spares in striped shirts. Koku, that's a good run. Battistini appealing for offside. It certainly wasn't. Poor cross.
Terrific build-up, and then just that final ball from Chris Sutton. That cross on a number of occasions has just spoilt. Terrific approach there.
And again, Trevor, we're making comparisons with other sides and international sides. Good to see the possession, probing for the opening. It's given this man, Osvaldo Bagnoli, a very unhappy afternoon. He, of course, will have a smile on his face if it stays as it does, as it is at the moment. It's 0-0. Bergkamp. Newman. 6 push forward. Aiming for Sutton again. Little flick, but actually took it away from Goss. Woodthorpe does well. So does Megson. Goss, Megson. Lovely build-up again. It just ran away at the last, and Massimo Paganini cleared. Away from Newman was Fontaine. This is Shalimov. Support arriving. They're outnumbered here, Norwich. But the final ball from Inter is a poor one.
Disgust from the home supporters. And of course that is going to happen now occasionally when Norwich pushing forward. John Dean, who you mentioned, was on his feet a few minutes ago. I think was encouraging Mark Bowen, the sweeper, to actually come out more and more to make that extra man in midfield and in the attacks. And Norwich, as the minutes tick away, are going to have to take a chance and might just occasionally get caught on the counter-attack.
Megson. Fox. Megson. That's nice. Fox, now a good cross. It's lofted, and Sutton just could not get to the ball. He was being lent on all the time by Bergami. A young man who has a lot of talent, and maybe a big future. Finding the man marking him, experience of 10 years at international level and more, was just a bit too much.
A few nudges and tugs and shoves as the ball was coming across there. They're so good at doing that. Just not enough to get any penalty decision from the referee, but certainly enough to put any striker off balance.
Norwich push out again. Sutton forward, Okoku to his left, 5 in midfield. Inter leading the 2 up. At best they're a 3 back usually. There's a kind heel.
Well, Sosa wasn't too popular with the right midfielder here, Paganini, because he was clear, looked at him, thought about giving it, turned away, and has just got a bit of Italian toss towards him, because he certainly was clear of Olathorn just for a minute there.
Okoku. Comes Olathorn. Mix. Oh, that was a good ball, and Sutton was blocked by Massimo Paganini right in front of the referee, who didn't see him. Can't believe that, neither can he.
Yeah, it's a blatant body check, but when the referee is following the play and the linesman is as well, it is very difficult to see the body checks when you're running off the ball. And you're quite right, Chris Sutton would have been clear. He got blatantly chopped down, but of course it was out of the line of the referee and he got away with it.
The referee says to Sutton, calm it down. I think he was feeling a bit frustrated and got his own back a little bit on the man who blocked him a few seconds ago. Say that the referee, I thought, had a good view of that, and so did the linesman on the far side. And I think they've got to work together to make sure that sort of thing doesn't happen.
I think we might see a few of these instances as well, where the odd Italian might go down for a bit of treatment, just to get those minutes tick away a bit quicker.
For the record on the Norwich City bench, David Smith, Liverpudlian, made 15 appearances in midfield but hasn't played this season. Jamie Curtin, who played for the youth side last night, an England under-18 player. Scott Howie, the goalkeeper, Darryl Such and Lee Power. Just wonder whether there might be a final gamble, and presumably Lee Power would be favourite. Here's Orlando, who's by no means a favourite.
His sort of response from the home supporters suggests that the couple of shots we've seen from him today, perhaps isn't the first time he doesn't quite manage to hit the target. He's attacking left back, but you see that ball bobbling around as he's going to hit it. Not the ideal.
And the substitution is to be made. And it is Lee Power, and he's going to replace Spencer Price. So the gamble is made. And I can assure you, I didn't see the number going up before I went through the list of substitutes. So Lee Power, who sure was disappointed not to get into the starting lineup. Now has the chance to make it for Norwich City. Free kick for that turn by Chris Sutton.
But it pulled Rob Newman, who, of course, was pushing into midfield to just leave the three at the back to replace Spencer Pryor and pick up and mark one of the Inter Milan attackers. And just playing lead power up now with the Cuckoo and Sutton into a three-man attack.
Thorne didn't make it. He's currently the gun. Sutton to the right, Power to the left. Newman. Half a touch and an important one for Power. Sutton. It's getting a little misty in the city of Milan. Norwich City with under 11 minutes to stay alive in European competition. The first attempt. Plenty to be remembered from it. Is it to move on to the new year or not? Sosa with the free kick. Looking for Paganini, who got the header. But easy for Gunn. Battistini finding himself in a marking role, and if Sutton could have got that header, Lee Power was away. Sosa. Fog is really coming in quite thick from our right. So I don't think it'll arrive in time. Thorne. Megson. Before to lose possession. Good play by Sutton again, at the expense of his ankles. Koku. Power, the man behind him. Battistini's header. Rule Fox. Time bounce this time for Inter, and here's Shalimov. And three take on two. Newman trying to get back goal side. This is Sosa. Bergkamp is the third member of the attack. Still Sosa. Some credit there for Colin Woodthorpe.
Well, everyone's played their part, but I mean, particularly the inexperienced players. Spencer Pryor went off as done everything right, so has Colin Woodthorpe. And Robert Ewell-Thorne on the left-hand side. I mean, it's been a superb team effort. We just haven't had that little bit of luck to get that vital goal.
Well, though the new players have played, Trevor, it has to be said that the loss of such experience with suspensions would be greatly regretted if they go out. Here's Bergkamp. Ian Crook might have struggled to make the team anyway because he's injured. Koku, a bit slow off the mark, Koku. Orlando did well. Good shot, and a strong one by Megson. Henry Megson has certainly taken his chance. He must have thought that days of playing in stadia like this had passed him. Newman, Fox. Out by Bergami. Bowen and Sosa. It's still Sosa. Bergkamp is arriving. Gone to the rescue again, but not good play by the Uruguayan. We didn't see the run by Bergkamp.
I'd probably say he didn't. Whether he did or not will be reviewed later, I should think, in the dressing room.
Power. Good try.
Sosa's pace highlighted again. I mean, in the first leg he got the penalty, didn't he? And again he just got behind Bowen. But I mean, Norwich have got to take the chance, and in these closing minutes they're going to get called out now and again.
Five Inter players in the Norwich half. Sosa, Krondl, good play. Antonio Pagadin, two to his left. Corner. Somebody come to me, he says to Sosa, and he's got a point. There was absolutely no movement from the two. Neither made a run, and he got all he could out of it. As though there's a final substitution to be made. That's Daryl Such, and I think Koku rather feeling it, having been out for so long. John Dean takes Koku to the bench. Wasn't quite able to show in the second half what he suggested in the first, the Nigerian. Sosa at the back was Battistini. Hit hand, I think, but clearly accidental. Good play by Woodthorpe. Good run inside. Wasn't seen by Power. The run was by Goss. Fox. Bowen pushes forward. Sam would like to have seen him do that rather earlier in the second period. Bit of push and shove. Free kick against Sutton. Hey! Would have been a gamble to have left Newman back more and let Bowen do that, but he is a more gifted player. As an attacker, it should be said. 5 minutes left. Push up for the offside, and they get it. Bowen to take. Curls away a little bit from Woodthorpe. Has to go and chase to collect. Ball on the edge of the box. Power couldn't get there. Shalimov. Delagno. Plenty of options here. Bergkamp in possession. Sosa in the middle. Shalimov on the right. Delagno. Possession more important for Inter. Back again to Fontaine. Too long. Sutton. Fox. Whistles from the home crowd. Power. Sutton.
Well, it's been an absorbing match, hasn't it? I mean, I think when we came, we were a little bit apprehensive as to whether Norwich could perhaps win this tie. But I mean, they've just gone forward. They've taken a total grip on the game. Had chances, hadn't had that much luck on the knockdowns either. Just hadn't managed to get that vital goal. But I mean, they've done everything but score, and it's been terrific credit to their performance, and I think a tremendous boost, although I'm sure when they get in that dressing room it won't be much consolation if they don't get that goal.
Well on by Sutton. Megson away from Goss. Good tackle by Chris Sutton. They've only lacked really in the finish and sometimes in the crossing, it has to be said, but the determination has been there, the build-up has been there. Bowen's cross, Sutton's header, but not a threat. Zenga really hasn't had to make a memorable save. Offside Sosa.
The last quarter now, Norwich had just gone away from their sort of basic passing and possession game and knocked in the crosses from too deep and too early, rather than just show that bit of patience.
Bone loses out to Bergkamp. Sosa in support, only Woodthorpe back. Shalimov arriving as well. Does it again. His 7th goal in this UEFA Cup competition. And once more, his strike has seen the end of hopes at home. Did it in the World Cup in both matches against England. Decisive in the last match against Poland. Scored at Carrow Road and scores now in the San Siro. Leaving Norwich with the impossible task of scoring twice in about a minute to save the day. Fine finish.
Well, it was a quality finish, wasn't he? I mean, we're seeing too much of him, unfortunately, in English football this season.
Newman, Fox. I think it's been quite clear that Raw Fox has not been anything like 100% fit. Alathorn with the corner. Which Senga again takes. Mark Byrne. And suddenly the home supporters are singing. Offside flag was up anyway, so it wouldn't have counted. If it's the ends that count, Inter can be happy, but surely not with the means of success. They've been outplayed in this one. Norwich have been unable to take the chances. The best falling to Sutton. That almost fell then for Shalimov.
Some tired legs now in the Norwich side. You know, they're just a bit drained to see that goal go in. Great credit to Bergkamp, but for them to end up winning the match is an injustice and scant reward for all the work that Norwich have put in.
I think many in the stadium and at home probably felt when Sutton pulled that chance across goal that might prove to be a crucial miss, and it has proved to be so. But Norwich City have carried the flag into Europe with distinction, and for their sake one hopes they can finish sufficiently high in the league competition to put the lessons learned this season into practice next. Off Fox. Shalimov. Good strike, good stop. Came straight to him, but he was moving off to his left, Brian Gunn. That's the last clearance. And Inter go through, having won both matches by 1-0. Both times Dennis Bergkamp the scorer. But well played, Norwich City, in spite of the final outcome.
Well, I hope you enjoyed it despite the outcome. A noble effort, wasn't it, indeed, by Norwich?
Well, they're beaten, they're out of the competition, but they're absolutely magnificent. I think they've done English football a power of good. I thought they were a credit tonight. The players played right throughout the game. They dominated the game. Probably the final ball in wasn't the best, and they missed a couple of chances in the first half, but they could easily have won that game.
Yeah, they did everything right up except finish.
Well, a very relieved team, I would think, into Milan. And you look over the two games, the difference between the sides was a forward who cost £12 million. You know, as Bergkamp, a little bit of quality finishing at the end there. The only time...
Hadn't done much up till then.
No impact in the game whatsoever other than that one thing. And Norwich at that stage, they only had two defenders. They'd thrown Newman up. Everyone was up there trying to get the goal.
And Sosa would have been a big disappointment, wouldn't he? I mean,
Yeah, he never had a kick. I mean, the party's over, but I think they've all enjoyed themselves along the way. The players have enjoyed themselves. The supporters have loved it. And what happens now is they want to taste it more. Once you get a taste of it, you want more. And what they've got to aim for, as Barry said, they've got to try and win the FA Cup and finish in the top 3 in the league.
Once again, Gunn played his part with a fine save.
Crucial save again.
Every game he's made one vital save.
Thanks very much. Well, there we are. We've got more sport for you tonight with Sports Night at 10:20. There'll be a reprise of that match if you just came in late, so to speak. There's some league action as well, although the Newcastle-Coventry match is off because of a waterlogged pitch. And there's another Norwich hero in action for you, boxing this time, with Herbie Hyde. So Sports Night 10:20, but for now, it's cheerio.